This is a weather alert from Pix 11 News.
I'm meteorologist Mike Masco. All right, Wednesday evening, let's talk about the storm. There's a couple of things that are going to change with how we're going to get data on this thing. It's going to start with some Air Force reconnaissance mission planes that are going to go into couple of pieces of energy off to the west, and that's going to help the modeling as we go into the rest of tonight and tomorrow. So the 0Z runs, the overnight runs into Thursday morning are really going to be telling, because if we see any kind of trending that is happening, let's say it's going to go to a warmer, more sleety solution, or if it's going to go to more a suppressed solution, that's going to start to show up tonight, and we'll see if that verifies into future runs. But you know, I said hang tight on the models. Don't start to buy into every snowfall forecast map that's posted on social media, because a lot of it's garbage. I want to show you, and I thought this was really impressive. Look how this swath of winter storm watches. I mean, you got West Virginia all the way into eastern sections of New Mexico. I mean, this is a huge winter storm watch, and it's rare to get a winter storm watch all the way down towards Houston, Texas, which is expected to produce some sleet freezing rain, but certainly watch, if not warning criteria, snows as we go into the weekend. So I just wanted to show you that, because I think thought it was a really incredible look at this winter storm watch for much of the deep south, mid-south into the deep south. Looks like northern Louisiana, you're under a winter storm watch. Eerily similar to what, if you remember, eerily similar to the New Orleans event where they had a ton of snow. So let's go to water vapor, and you can see right now, a couple of little interesting things is that we're starting to moisten up the atmosphere. And I guess a piece of me wonders, with this huge jog, we started out with temperatures at around 9 degrees this morning in the major cities, we'll end up somewhere around 38 degrees by tomorrow morning. I wonder if that's kind of a foreshadowing to what's going to come with this storm. And I'll explain that in 1 second, but I'm not totally buying into everything. I just mentioned the air reconnaissance planes are going to go into two systems, one off California. There's another one off the Pacific Northwest. And then another piece of some vorticity that's sitting around Edmonton. All of this is going to get ingested in the modeling, and that's why we're going to start to get a better picture of this storm as we move forward. And if I were to pick out one piece that I'm really intrigued on, it's probably this lobe of vorticity that's going to come into Montana tonight and then really head southbound. And does that kind of throw a monkey wrench into the whole mix, where we start to pull this system a little bit too far to the north, where there's going to be some mixing concern? And the Euro model has been showing that a couple of runs now, and I'll see if that continues. Careful with the European. It has over-amplified systems a little aggressively, and that's something we've just been learning this year that you need to kind of consider when you're looking at all models. So not much change, right? I mean, in terms of these storm tracks, I am not ready to say it's completely done in terms of storm track 2. But again, I think storm track 1 is probably the more viable solution, and maybe on the northern edge of that if the European is correct. But the modeling on this high to the north, it remains the critical factor as we move into the forecast time period, because I just think that that's going to become the big story with these models. I'm going to go into the models in a second. I just want to show you, and this is another thing that's just been really eye-opening and jaw-dropping to a certain extent, where you have places like Memphis that are being modeled to have an ice accretion of 2 inches. 2 inches of ice sitting on a power line or a tree is going to snap in minutes. The weight of that is incredible. And so if the model is real across the mid-Mississippi Valley, you might be without power in parts of Memphis, all of Memphis, half of Memphis, whatever that percentage would be, for days, because there's no way you're going to be able to pick up all those power lines and be able to restring them and get customers back online. Modeled ice accretion, and this is accounting for the northern jog and the European, is showing significant across, and I think this is consistent, by the way. I think that I always thought that this was going to be a little more of a valid response with Storm Track 1, is that it's showing in like a Winston-Salem, Asheville, you get back through the Smokies, this could be almost 2 inches of ice. So North Carolina, western and southern, and really, let's just call it all of Virginia, needs to be prepared for this. Even if these numbers are aggressive, and they probably are, anything over a half inch is significant. So when you're talking about an inch over that, I mean, it's good night, Irene. Here's the forecast, and I'm just going to take you through the general timeline, and then we'll go into the models. Here's what we're looking at. The storm is going to really start to develop itself across south central plains as we go into Saturday morning. So you're going to swat the snow to the north of that. You're going to get that ice mixture right along the Metroplex into Memphis, and then you're going to start to see this thing scream eastbound. It's still dry, by the way, in New York City, Philadelphia, DC, and Baltimore. Notice the cold air damming, and it's really important to note the wind barbs that are coming northeast to southwest. That's your cold air dam source. Models love to pull and push that stuff out of there. I have seen that countless times where the models have pulled all the cold air out and has replaced it with warm air. I think that's overdone. Even for sleet soundings, even if we get a warm air intrusion at 700 millibars, and that's your 15,000 plus feet up into the atmosphere, even if we get that, I still think you're going to get a front end snow dump into much of Virginia. And then it starts to get replaced. Eventually, that COD feature, we call it cold air damming, CAD, eventually that starts to kind of mix out a little bit. But it's still thumping snow. DC, Baltimore beltways, down to Pax River, Philadelphia, New York City, and then it gets all the way up into Westchester County and even into the lower Hudson Valley. And then this is, again, it's tremendous snow coming down. It's probably being over-modeled as sleet over central New Jersey, but do I buy southeastern New Jersey, the Atlantic City area getting into sleet? Yes, all right, on this model. But again, lots to dive in on that one. So just a quick little comparison. We'll go back over to and take a look. Go over to here. Let's just show you again what the afternoon models have been doing. I want to show you the AI first because I think the AI has a little bit of it's showing something interesting that I think will show up again. And what it's showing, and I'm going to focus only on the high. And this is this high right here. So just so we're clear, it's this high pressure dome. This is your Arctic high. This is your area where you would want to see a high to create a New York City snowstorm. I said this on air this morning on the Pix 11 Morning News. I said, if you're going to have a high, you're going to put a high right over Hudson, over New England, and you're going to drive a northerly wind down the Hudson River. And that's your snow. And if it can stay that way for 80% of the storm, you're going to have a significant snowstorm. And that's kind of where I'm going with this forecast. So watch that high closely because I want to show you the AI. Notice how it kind of wobbles a little bit with it. It tries to pull it out and then it tries to pull it back. It's not pulling it. It's not pulling it east, and that's very telling because fleeting highs give us a lot of problems. Usually when I see a fleeting high, I'm ready to start mixing on every surface and snowfall map. It's not fleeting. It's going north. It's lifting. It's being pushed. But I don't know many low pressures at 1016 or 1011 or 1008, which is that low down to the south. I don't know many lows that can push storm highs like that. Highs sit and they park themselves and lows wait for them to move. And then the low pressure starts to replace that air source. And then you get high pressure on the backside that replaces the low pressure. So I thought that was interesting first off. And then, so there's that. And then I want to go over to the European. Same deal, right? So definitely the AI is stronger at 7 a.m. Sunday with the high. The Euro is a smidge weaker, same proximity. And then look how even the operational tries to dig it in a little bit. Yeah, it's weakening a little bit, but it's digging it in. It's fumbling it. It's showing a low. It's not a low. It's fumbling it, and then it pulls it out. I don't know. I don't know for the life of me why this would happen the way it's being modeled on the Euro. Now, I know why. I just don't know if it's correct because here's this low and you have a redevelopment of the low, which I really think the model is reading as a warm front. I think it's trying to develop a weird coastal front and a baroclinic zone, and it's trying to model out a low. And that's why it's developing it off of Atlantic City. So, it's one of those things where it does give you pause because you have an idea and then the idea starts to move towards something a little different. I'm not 100% ready to say that this is the solution to buy into. There's another thing I want to show you. Let's go to weatherbell.com's maps. I wanted to show you this. And I was looking at this morning. Let's see here. Surface. I want to go to moisture. I want to show you dew points because this blew my mind. That we're going to go right to Sunday morning. Look at the dew points walking into the storm Sunday morning. 1 in New York City. 9, 1, 4. Maybe the coast goes to 33 down into the Barrier Islands of southeast New Jersey. How are you not wet bulbing like crazy during that storm? And that's another thing. The depth of this storm. And yes, by the way, the dry air is going to eat some of the snow initially. But if this was showing me 31 dew point going to New York City, I think I would be buying the Euro solution a little bit harder. That is a lot of cold, dry air to try to replace. Now, that's not saying that we could get into some sleet. And in fact, I'll show you that on the soundings here. Actually, I'm not going to show you the soundings. The only models that picked it up, by the way, are the high-resolution models. Global models do an awful job with that. So we're not close yet with the NAM. But I wanted to show you what I was going to do. All right, I wanted to show you temperatures, upper levels. Okay, because this is where we start developing baselines on the type of mixing. So, all right, this is 850. So you got the warm air intrusion at 850 going to maybe Staten Island, okay? But at that point, 80% of the storm is done. So your front end could be 8 inches of snow. And then you start to mix with sleet, and then we're back down into the Arctic. And then, by the way, this is insane. The 850s by over a week out is like negative 20 something. We'll look at 700. Same deal. You got a sleet sounding not until Sunday night. So your front end snow is incredible at that point. So I'll get through this. And again, this is showing that Miller B wrap up. So why am I not showing this on TV is because it doesn't explain anything. It explains from Monticello to Tom's River. Is this going to go? Huh. Let me see if this will work. I'll show you the GFS, just a representation. This is going to work. Okay. It doesn't matter what I show you. I just want to explain. You're telling me from Monticello to Trenton to Manasquan to East Hampton to Brookhaven, it's going to be set 14 to 17 inches of snow? This is why I have a problem with the models, is because this is broad brushing a 10-to-1 snow ratio. So that's assuming 1 inch of QPF liquid is the equivalent of 10 inches of snow. So if it's 2-inch QPF, that's 20 inches of snow. You gotta start to massage these maps a little bit better. You gotta know where there's a sleet area. You gotta know where your snow ratio is because it's so much colder and drier. You gotta know how to subtract based on dry air eating the northern edge of the storm. You gotta understand all that stuff because this does nothing for you. I mean, it's pretty to look at, and I would share it online, right? But it doesn't really tell. It's not really telling the truth. That's why I keep saying, oh, it's lying to you. I don't know why I didn't run this out until Saturday. My apologies, or Sunday rather. I don't know why it stops at Saturday. But anyway, nonetheless, I just wanted to give you an idea of what that looks like. Real quick, and we'll wrap this, because there's not really much more input I have on this storm. Other than we are expecting a significant storm with a baseline of 6 inches of snow for about everybody, from New York City down to DC, even Northern Virginia. That's the baseline. I mean, that's not a small storm by any stretch. I wanted to show you real quick. Here's precipitation, and this is what I'm talking about here. That's an inch of liquid, and it's over an inch of liquid down into the Delmarva and down into the DMV. So, you know, when we talk baselines, I mean, really, I could say my baseline is 10 inches. But the problem is, if I go on TV tomorrow morning and I tell you 10 inches of snow is falling, and I have to walk that back, I don't know if I'll have a job the next day because that's a big That's a big storm. There's a couple other storms that come to mind. It's the 2015, if you remember that storm. I believe it was 2015, January 20 something. If looking at all this stuff, if you asked me, Mike, are we going to get 15 inches of snow in New York City? I would have said absolutely. This is one of the best snowstorm setups, one of the best, with crazy intensifying low offshore. That storm hit Long Island and left a few inches in New York City. That was a huge bust. So I got to be really careful with this because models spit out crazy numbers and then they take them away. We're not in a very stable world in our forecast modeling. So that's how I see it right now. I wanted to give you a quick update. I'm not 100% on board with the euro. Maybe I'm in the wacko group of trying to determine this storm. I don't think we're going to see as much sleet and rain getting into the equation, even down to the Jersey Shore and Long Island, southeast Long Island. I mean, sleet, sure. I think you'll switch to some sleet, but rain, I don't see it. All right, that's it for me. I am going to go nurse my cold, and I will see you back on the Pix 11 Morning News starting at 7 a.m. Have a great day.
This has been a weather alert from Pix 11 News.